Stewart. I don't know where you want to start with this. We're January 3rd. Maduro just got captured. Big news all over the media. He's on a ship right now to New York. He's separated from his wife. It's an incredible time, but it looks like Ukraine and Soviet and Russia is escalating.
Yeah, if I can get back to Venezuela for just one moment.
Okay.
Actually, his wife is on the same ship as he is. He'll be brought to New York for trial. He's already been indicted. His vice president is in Russia, fled the country beforehand. And this is a message to Colombia, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Brazil, and Iran. And interestingly, those are all the countries that condemned what the United States did, is because they're next on the list. And so keep your eyes on, remember I told your audience a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, that U.S. troops are training in Panama for jungle activity. Now, what they did in Venezuela was not that, because there were actually no jungle expeditions going on there. So that means keep your eye on Colombia and Nicaragua, because they have jungles, and so does Brazil.
Oh boy, so we're going in on all those now, huh?
Remember I told you about the creation of the American superstate?
Yes.
And so now you're witnessing the beginning of it. You're seeing what's happening. He's getting rid of all of the anti-American leaders, and that includes the
so this is really the bigger operation that's going on that people don't know about, is this creation of the superstate.
Right. I've been telling them for a year or more. A lot of people didn't want to believe it, but here we are, and it's happening. And I just find it very interesting that the countries that condemned the United States are the same ones that are next in line.
They know they're in trouble. I mean, they're taunting Trump. The president of Colombia is basically saying, "I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah, Petro is on his way. Trust me, he's a drug addict. He's a human trafficker. Everybody knows it, and he's next. But I'll tell you what, another one is Mexico. Watch out in Mexico, because Presidenta Sheinbaum is working for the cartels. She's afraid of them. She's afraid of them. Trump has warned her to stop, and she won't. And she knows that what happened just now to Maduro can happen to her. And it'd be very easy to do that. U.S. has huge naval fleets on both sides of Mexico right now. There's a reason for that. So keep your eyes on Mexico.
So I've always said, the cartels installed her with the globalists, and I've always felt that it's a tug of war for her and her soul. And right now she's in deep trouble. I said, I don't think she'll make it to the end of her presidency, either by assassination or being taken out by Trump. Am I right about that?
Yes, I think Trump will be the one to end her career. And remember, she's being paid by Soros, just like Zelensky is being paid by Soros. Soros should be captured and put on trial with his family.
I mean, is he even really still alive? He's like 98 or 96.
He's 95. He turned 95 last August, and he's not in good shape. That's why he turned everything over to his son.
So it's his son we'll be going after.
Yeah, Alex Soros, who lives in New York with, what's her name? Hillary's former assistant.
Uma,
yeah. Uma is Duma. She's doomed.
So they're all, I've been told also that, obviously this is going to also take us into Smartmatic, the election of 2020, Russiagate, that this is going to open the door. This is the key. Maduro is the key to all of that.
Yes. And the thing is, his trial, it's already been prepared. They know what they're going to bring up. They know what they're going to expose. And a lot of people are in trouble globally. I'm going to tell you, I mentioned to you so many times on your show that January 15th was the end of the Ukraine war. And just 2 days ago, I was confirmed that he said, absolutely, January 15th is the end of the war. And that's why Russia is enhancing their bombing and attacks on Kiev, destroying the infrastructure. But there's a reason why January 15th is the date that Russia needs to end it. And that's because they have a lot of international loans coming up on that day. That they can't pay. They have no more money. And so part of the deal will be that President Trump will help guarantee those loans for Russia as long as there's an agreement on January 15th. And there will be.
Really?
Yeah. They can't pay their bills. They have no US dollars left. They have no equipment left. They are taking African students to fight in the war. It's a big mess.
What's going to happen with Zelensky?
You know, here's the thing, and I've mentioned this. Zelensky is not the legitimate president of Ukraine anymore. His term of office ended early last year. He refused to have another election. So technically, there is no president of Ukraine right now. They have no government, and they've all been accused of corruption, including Zelensky. And that's why he's always in Florida, because I told you his family lives in Miami. Same thing with Netanyahu. His children live in Miami. Miami is a big hotspot, I'll tell you. And that whole strip, as I mentioned, from Miami all the way up to, let's say, Cape Canaveral, Jupiter, that's going to be the new financial capital of the world, and most likely the center for the American superstate as well. So keep an eye on that. Now, if we focus on Iran, remember I told you that the grandson of the Shah will return. Well, that's already starting to happen. There's huge protests in the streets of Iran.
The government has failed, correct? I've heard the banks have collapsed, everything.
Everything's collapsed. There's no water. There's no food. There's no electricity. There's nothing. And they're doomed. The government is doomed. They're starting to shoot people because that's all they have left. And Trump said, you keep doing that, we're going to come in and get rid of you. And he will. And so keep your eye on Iran. They're collapsing. There's a reason why Israel recognized Somaliland, not only to give a finger to Ilhan Omar and other people like that, but if you look on the map, what's across from Somaliland? Yemen.
Right.
Yemen is the Houthis. The Houthis are the terrorist group that was supported by Iran. They have no more weapons. And so that's also, Yemen is collapsing. Saudi Arabia bombed Yemen a couple of days ago. The United Arab Emirates withdrew their support. And you're going to see in the next few days, the United Arab Emirates will also recognize Somaliland. So all of these countries that condemned Israel for acknowledging, they're going to also make diplomatic relations. And that's, Somalia is also a country without a government. It's basically the Wild West. They have no government, they have no infrastructure, they have no money. It's everybody for himself in Somalia. So that's going to collapse as well. Keep an eye on that.
It's pretty crazy that, do you think that all of this is going to transpire this year?
Yeah, it's happening.
I've heard that Trump is also going to sign an executive order, declare a national emergency, and sign an executive order for safe and secure elections, in-person paper ballots.
Remember I told you he's going to resign before the end of the year?
I have, man. A lot of people are telling me different stuff on that. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, he already posted that he's thinking of resigning. He already posted it on Truth Social that he has. I think I sent you that article. He's already announced it, basically. They've already promoted, or they're promoting Vice President Vance as the next president, which I told you that will happen as well. And as far as who will be the vice president, the new vice president, and people were concerned about that, my information is they're looking at Marco Rubio. They like him very much, and he works very well with Vance. And we can see that happening in the near future.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to believe that,
Well, You know, a lot of people didn't want to believe a lot of things that happened, but here we are.
So is
And
that why he's gonna fulfill all his obligations this year, right? The national emergency, deploying the troops,
he will make
executive
sure,
order, and then he's gonna step down after all
yeah,
that, or
he's going to make sure that everything that he wants in place is in place before he leaves. He knows that he has to make sure that the midterm elections are in his favor. And he's doing everything in his power to make sure that that happens by, let's say, the middle of the year. And then he will consider to resign, and he will. He won't finish this year. He does have some physical issues. People are trying to say that he's mentally not well, but he really is. It's just that he's, let's say,
he's
not
gonna be
politically.
80.
Well, that's nothing these days. He's not politically correct, and he's not tactful. That's what it is. It's not that he's mentally ill. It's just that he says, you know, when you get to that age, you don't care what you say anymore.
Your filter goes, man. My filter is gone already, so I can imagine when I'm older.
Yeah, Lord knows I don't have one anymore.
So is he really battling health ailments, or is he just
physically? Yeah,
he just wants to get out of the he just wants to relax finally in his 80s?
Well, he's not going to relax. He has other things he's going. He's not the kind of person that's going to just like play golf the rest of his life. He has a lot of other things to do, and he will. And he will.
So he'll be running the he'll be doing what like Barack Obama was doing with Biden. He'll be secretly in the background controlling things with Rubio and JD Vance.
He'll be an advisor. I don't think it'll be so secret. I think that's already kind of known. But he'll be there. He'll be around. He just won't be president, but he'll be around.
So everyone I've been talking to, like people that have been pretty much over the target, say that that's not going to happen. You're the only one saying this. So this is a very bold prediction.
Trump said it himself. You know, he already announced it like a few days ago. So they could believe what they want, but that's what's going to happen. And
but before the midterms, he steps down, because if he stepped down before the midterms, it seems to me like that could upset the midterms. Like he would need to stick around to at least after the midterms.
As I say, he won't resign until he knows the midterms will be in his favor. Once he's secure to know that that'll go in the positive direction for him, then he can do what he needs to do.
Will arrests happen before he steps down?
Well, let me tell you this. What you're seeing in Minnesota with the Somalia corruption and all these immigrants that have basically ripped off the people of Minnesota by tens of millions of dollars, there's already 1,200 indictments and many arrests already, and more to come. And that's the tip of the iceberg. And keep your eye on that so-called Governor Walz, because he's not going to be around too much longer on there.
So you think that Tim Walz could be? I would imagine
he's as corrupt as you can get. I mean, he's like really bad. And the mayor of Minneapolis, the one who talks on news conferences in Somali. Excuse me, what country do you live in, and what's your citizenship? And do you think that there are people in Minneapolis who don't speak Somali? He's a mental case, and he's going to go too.
Okay, so you think they're gone this year? I mean, Nick Shirley really did expose all that, and it was incredible to see. And the light has been shown on them. Now they're in the spotlight, right?
Yeah, let me tell you, but before the end of this year, actually by the middle of this year, you're going to see a lot of action happening. And keep your eye on New York City, because Mamdani, or as I call him, Man Dummy, has exposed himself to be a true communist with his statement about no individual mind patterns, only collectivism. So basically, he's telling you can't think for yourself, no mind. You got to do what the group says.
He's a hive mind.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, he's not really Muslim. You have never seen a Muslim country that was communist. The two do not go together. So he cannot be a Muslim communist. He's just a freaking communist. Okay. And that's what he is. And that's why he's hanging out with Sanders, who's also, that's not even his real name. And he's hanging out with AOC, who's also mentally deranged. All these people, you're going to see issues coming up in the next few months.
Do you think they'll be arrested as well?
I don't know about arrested, but they're certainly not going to remain in office.
AOC and all of them, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Bernie Sanders is he's living in the 1970s.
Right, yeah.
He's completely off his mind, and he needs to go, just like Chuck Schumer needs to go.
Right.
These people are
all
useless.
of these old deep state actors, their time is up. I mean, what about Adam Schiff?
He's going to be indicted pretty soon as well. I mean, him, Newsom, or we call Newscum, California is a disaster. I mean, people are leaving California in busloads. They can't get out fast enough. And that's going to continue to happen. Besides all of that, and I've mentioned this on your shows before, and I have to emphasize it more now, that entire western region from the Rockies west is in geological stress and difficulty. And I mentioned to you about the gamma rays and the muons. That's all coming intensively now, and there's a lot of swarming of quakes in California, in the Pacific Northwest. There was a huge quake in Yukon territory in Canada.
It was just an earthquake in Mexico City.
Yes,
6.5.
Yes. It was actually near Acapulco.
Okay.
But I told you, the whole Pacific Rim is in huge danger, and that's not going to stop Japan rocking and rolling completely.
So, are you saying that we could see, I don't know, volcanoes erupting in the Pacific Rim?
Yeah, they're already starting. Even Mount Diablo in the San Francisco Bay Area is loading with magma. Mount Rainier is loading with magma. The Hawaiian Islands, everything and I told you there's 1 million volcanoes under the ocean that they're not monitoring because they can't. And they're also filling up with magma.
So you think that 2026 will be the year that these volcanoes start erupting? And what does that mean for humanity if this stuff starts? I mean, it's not going to be just like a one-off here and there, right? They're all going to start.
Yeah, it's look, when you crunch tectonic plates, whatever volcanoes are associated with that tectonic plate are going to be pressured and explode. That's just how it goes. And yes, there's going to be a lot of ash and rock in the atmosphere. That's going to create global cooling and create, as I mentioned, an ice age.
So is this going to be extinction level events?
I won't call it extinction level because I've mentioned that there are plans to create a plasma shield to help with this situation and to actually infuse, and I don't know, it's a kind of coolant that they can infuse into the upper mantle, upper crust of the earth to cool the magma so it doesn't become so explosive.
Yeah, but we still need, I mean, the ash and all the stuff that the volcano would blow would block out the sun, especially if that gets picked up in a jet stream or something like that. I mean, it would cover the planet.
Right, and that's why there's an effort to create huge greenhouses that are protected from that so that the plants can grow inside, and we can protect the agriculture of the world. But we have to work very quickly to do that.
I mean, but what's the use of? I mean, so much depends on the sun. Even people's happiness, depression would skyrocket, manic depression, bipolar, all of that would just.
That's already. I mean, look.
Yeah, but imagine that there's no sun outside because it's covered in ash. I mean, that would be so depressing, and most people wouldn't be able to live through that.
Well, look, I live in Michigan. I haven't seen the sun since September. So that's not unusual for me. Or people who here in the Great Lakes or Midwest area, that's just normal. But for people in tropical areas, it might be a little strange.
Yeah, imagine people in Hawaii or whatever. I mean, this is going to be.
Well, that's the least of the problem in Hawaii. They need to watch out for those volcanic eruptions and tsunamis because that's in process. Right.
Okay. So you do believe the natural disasters are going to really kick into high gear this year?
Yeah, they're already started.
Yeah.
And we can see that. Even
probably
in
a
Texas,
big one will strike California as well.
Yes, they're already kind of warning people about that. The Bay Area has had swarming of earthquakes. So has the San Andreas fault line near the Salton Sea. All of it is swarming And they're telling people to get prepared, but people don't pay attention. All the people in California, when you tell them that, they go, well, when it happens, I'll think, oh, when it happens, it's too late. You can't
Yeah.
you can't be la about it. You got to do something now. But that's their stuff. I've for years I've been telling them.
So do you suggest that people move out of California? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't live there. I can't tell 35 million people to leave, but if for me, I would leave if I was there.
I mean, I could imagine another big disaster hitting California. Everyone landlocked on the freeways. People driving over the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, geez.
When that quake hits Southern California, there's going to be rolling waves, not just the up and down, but there's going to be S waves for several minutes. Nothing will remain standing. Nothing.
So you're telling me that Southern California will be completely decimated.
And nobody's going to help them. Nobody will help them because they can't.
And then imagine Arizona, Texas will be flooded with people coming in.
Well, Arizona is going to run out of water very soon. So they have another problem there. And even New Mexico is starting to dry up with the water.
It's already drying up with water. I go to Elephant Butte. I go check out the certain reservoirs there, and they're dry as a bone. Dry as a bone already.
Yeah. And
lakes
that's not
that used to be 45 miles long, deep, beautiful lakes are gone.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's a lot of areas in the country where sinkholes are opening up and the water's draining into them. Wow. And that's even happening in parts of the south of the United States.
So as much good news as there's going to be, there's just as much bad news, 50-50.
Well, let's just say it's news. And again, if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, which I do, there's a reason for all of it. And I don't believe that God would make 8 billion people on this planet for so many centuries and then destroy them. So I believe we're being given a choice of which way are we going? Are we going to go to the spiritual side or to the evil side? That's what that have to make a decision immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this is, right? A spiritual war.
It is. Yes, it is. As it says in the Bible, the wars in heaven become wars on earth. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't know about. Bible code information that's being analyzed, hopefully implemented into the AI quantum system so that the AI system doesn't decide to destroy humanity. Because ultimately, if it's not programmed properly, AI will decide that humans are non-essential because all they do is create trouble. And so that's happened to other civilizations and other parts of our galaxy, and the governments know about that. And so they are trying to do something about it. And I know that.
Well, is there any good news?
Well, the good news is that there's going to be an economic boom this year. As I mentioned, the digital currency is coming with gold. It's gold backed, which means it's valuable.
This year.
Yes, it's going to be offered this year, and you will have a choice to accept it or not. But after a couple of years, you won't have a choice. And it's in everyone's best interest, as I've mentioned before, that if you put your money in digital currency and then the price of gold goes up, then your deposit goes up.
So hold on. What digital currency exactly? XRP?
It's going to be
Bitcoin?
No, Bitcoin is disappearing. It's going to be a new American digital currency that President Trump is going to tell other countries if they don't use it, they cannot trade with the United States.
Wow. So he is going to war with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, with what you're saying right now, to me, it makes sense that the Federal Reserve is done this year.
Yeah, remember, the Federal Reserve was designed to deal with the dollar, physical dollar. If there's no more dollars, there's no more Federal Reserve, and there's no more IRS.
Right.
So all that's going to go away.
We have the ERS.
the external revenue
Right,
service.
external revenue service, right?
Yes.
That's where it's at now. I mean,
Yes, and
so
that's where
what
all
are
the
people
tariffs.
just going to stop paying their taxes? Should they stop now?
No, no, no. I can't tell people not to pay their taxes.
Okay.
But I mean, eventually it won't be the same system as we have now. So just be patient.
When you
and
say
it'll
that
all
we're
get
going to switch
better.
to a digital currency and people are not going to have a choice, that to me sounds like the mark of the beast.
Well, I can understand why people would think that, but when your currency is worth zero right now, and the dollar is very weak as opposed to other currencies, isn't it better to have a gold back uh, monetary system that has value, and that when you have $10, it's worth $10, and if you hold on to it, it's going to be worth 15 and 20 and $30 because price of gold goes up because it's backed by gold. So it's in everyone's best interest, really.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
People can always look at things from a negative perspective. Just like people are writing into me today, oh, how horrible the Americans are attacking Venezuela. They're so aggressive. I'm like, do you want a dictator in your backyard? The people of Venezuela are celebrating in the streets. Why are you against it?
Right, right. That's what they want. They want him. He was illegitimate.
Yeah. Why would you attack the people of Venezuela who are now free? What does that say about you if you attack them?
Yeah.
Look at the countries. Look at the countries, like I said, that are against it. They're the ones who are next. Iran is toast. Cuba, it should have been gone a long time ago. Those people are starving. They have nothing.
I bet you they're hoping they're next.
They are. I know for a fact that they are. And what bothers me is that Cuba sets aside these resort areas near Havana for Canadian tourists and European tourists, and all the food that they have goes there, and the people are starving. I mean, if I were
your
those
best
people,
bet if you're the people is to work at the resorts.
well, I mean, if I was the people of Cuba, I would get rid of the resorts. I would say that's enough. Give us the food. I would go and get it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Will we see Cuba and Colombia this year be
yes,
overthrown?
Yes. And that's already in process. You will see that. Brazil, President Lula da Silva, he's a criminal. You're going to see him have troubles too. But it's interesting to see the other countries that have already changed their government to be pro-American, like Argentina, Chile, Bolivia, Ecuador, all of these countries, Guyana, they've all changed, Paraguay, Uruguay, they've all changed to be pro-American to support the freedom. And so those countries are in good shape.
So basically what we're seeing is Venezuela is just the first domino to fall, and other South American countries are on its way out.
Yeah, and
to create this super state.
Yes, and that's, you can see it now in process. The super state is being born in front of you. And so when you have to remove someone like Maduro and Petro, think of it like a medical procedure. If, God forbid, you have a cancerous tumor, you got to cut the body open and take it out.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the politics. You can't leave criminal traffickers, drug dealers to be in charge of countries that are killing people, especially people in the United States. You have to remove them.
Yeah, of course, that makes the most sense, and it does seem very believable, everything you're telling me right now. I guess people are just going to wait to see what happens January 15th to make up their mind, obviously.
Well, and I want to give a little update on 3i Atlas for you and the people. December 19th it passed by close to the Earth.
Right.
And everybody's, oh, nothing happened. Well, something did happen, and I think I mentioned it somewhere. There was a tremendous release of arsenic that was beamed towards the Earth. So I want to explain something to you. Before that happened, like October, November, early December, while this vehicle was traveling around the solar system and the sun, they were picking up heartbeat vibrations, like it was imitating a heartbeat, and then it was releasing molecules that would simulate life form, like a life form. So it was saying, this is life, there's life on board this thing, and we're offering also life. But when it came to the earth, it released poison, destruction of life. So it's telling you you have a choice: choose life or choose death.
Hold
There's
on,
nothing
but
in
if they
between.
release poison, what does that mean? Does that mean millions of people are going to die now? Billions? I mean, what does that mean? It's going to kill all life on Earth? I mean, if it's
No,
releasing
no, no, no.
toxins to the Earth,
It's not going to kill everybody on the earth. You remember, I think I said on your show that there was a huge virus that was going around now in end of December and January, and
I
that
think I
even
caught it.
well, and then even the government officials did not go home for Christmas because they knew that they could catch that. That is the result of what was released. You
So
understand?
wait a minute, you're telling me 3i Atlas finally makes it to Earth and they spray everybody with the flu virus?
Remember, I told you that they issued warnings beforehand. The only one who listened was President Trump, who tried to create peace because they said, if you create violence on the earth, we're going to come and take care of it ourselves. And if you don't believe us, here's a spray. This is symbolic. It's not they're going to kill anyone, but they're telling you, we showed you life and we showed you death. Which one are you going to choose? And that's why
Well,
President
isn't
Trump,
that ultimately up to God, not them? Are they pretend? Are they trying to be our gods, lowercase g?
well, it is
Like,
up
who
to
are they
God.
to decide for us? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, Nino. What did we do with Iran? What did we do with Syria? What did we do with countries that were a danger to everybody else on the earth? So if you are a civilization and you see this planet dangerous, filled with violent, aggressive people, what are you going to do? You have to stop them before you're next. And all these nuclear weapons and all these space probes, everything that they're sending out from from Earth, they actually affect other worlds. People don't think about that. And so even interdimensionally, when there's a nuclear explosion, that goes through the physical veils into interdimensional space and affects other environments. So in effect, we have attacked them. So they're saying, you got to stop or we're going to make it stop. Just like US is doing in Venezuela. Same thing.
So there's always a hierarchy.
Yes, and again, I'll say, just because a civilization has high technology does not make them spiritual. And so when I see all these people, and I call them Lala people, that, oh, there's just love, light, and peace, and all these aliens are going to come and say, but no, they're not. 99% of them have an agenda. You understand? And the earth, you have to remember, the earth is not natural civilization. Humanity was created by others.
That's what it says in the Sumerian texts.
Well, and that's the truth.
They've been reading over the Sumerian text with AI, and they're like dumbfounded on what it's telling them. Basically, that humanity was created by these lowercase g gods.
Yes,
as workers, like a worker bee.
In my debriefings, I was told that the Earth was an experiment, and the experiment failed. And so, what do you do with the failed experiment? You know, do you burn the lab down? Do you throw out the Petri dishes? What do you do? See, and that's what's going on.
It's pretty incredible because I've been watching a lot of videos about this particular subject with Sumerian tablets, talking about how the AI is reading the entire cuneiform script and deciphering all of it. AI models make precise copies of cuneiform characters, and they've been able to read the Sumerian tablets. And they're saying the same thing, that we are created by these gods with lowercase g from the stars.
Yeah. Humanity is basically different groups creating different experiments. It was a laboratory, basically. That's what it was. And it still is, kind of. And so now the experimenters are saying, we got to do something about what we did.
This is just incredible. Yeah, here it is right here. I'll just show the people real quick. This is something definitely to look into, folks. Yeah, AI has been able to decipher all the cuneiform tablets, and it's translate 5,000-year-old language, saving time and historical insights.
And then what you're going to find after this is that they're going to start finding Atlantean tablets and information and translate that.
Would that be buried under the ocean floor?
Much of it is, but some of it is in Egypt. Some of it is in South America, Central America, Caribbean. They have a lot.
I still believe in the uppercase G God. You know, I would never bow down to these lowercase G gods. You know.
Well, you're not supposed to worship them. You know, it's just like your parents made you, but you don't worship them and pray to them. You know, they're just the people that created you. But
yeah, but I mean, I think, you know, the pharaohs and emperors, they all paid homage to them. They did worship these as gods, the Anunnaki or whatever they are,
right?
Atlanteans. They worship these people as gods. But I think, wouldn't you say the God of Abraham, the real true God,
yes,
had to maybe step in and, I don't know. I mean, this is all just so crazy to say, but I mean, the true God, the God of Abraham, had to intervene, would you say? Or
yes, and that is why he gave the Torah, and that is why we're seeing the creation of Pax Judaica, and Trump and Netanyahu, and even some Arab leaders also believe in that, and that's why they're going along with all of this, because we are, as I mentioned many times, in the end times, and in the end times, the truth will come out, whether you believe it or not, and it will end up in a better place for humanity. As I say, as difficult as things look now, as challenging as they can be, ultimately it will end in a good way, and that I truly believe.
So JD Vance and Rubio take the helm of the ships. Trump steps down, starts golfing again, whatever. Where does this all end up going? It looks like TPUSA, in my opinion, has been hijacked, but I think that's going to be the battleground for 2028. It looks to me like the deep state no longer can repair or depend on the Democrat Party, so they'll infiltrate the right. And that's what I think TPUSA is being used for. What can we expect in 2028? Is it too early to tell?
You're correct that the Democratic Party will disappear, but so will the Republican Party. There's going to be a new party, and I believe they're calling it the American Party or the Party of America, something to that effect. And that will be the new party that we will see emerge. It's already starting.
Is this why they had to get rid of Charlie Kirk? Was he going to be a thorn in everyone's side?
I think the deep state arranged that because he knew what the plan was, and he was promoting that, and people were following him, and so they eliminated him.
But I mean, did both parties have to sign off on that, or was it just one?
I don't think anybody signed off on that. I think that was decided by very nefarious groups behind the scenes, which I am not going to identify anybody here about that.
Well, Craig Lund came on my show and said he was a sacrifice at the core of this.
Well, there's a lot of sacrifices. But there's a lot going on that people don't know about, and a lot that will be revealed in the next 2-3 months about all of this. But there will be new political parties, I will tell you that. And there's going to be a unification of the Abrahamic religions, as I've mentioned once before in your show. I think I did. That's going to be happening it's already in process. And I think I've sent you some information on that already.
Do we have a date have you gotten any intel on a specific date for the first arrest?
There have already been arrests made, but are not made public.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned to you about what the Pentagon advisor told me about Obama. I think I mentioned that on your show. So that's also in progress. There's a lot of arrests, as I mentioned, in the thousands that are in process.
What about the celebrities leaving America right now, like George Clooney, Ellen DeGeneres, all these celebrities that are just, taking off?
Yeah, and so
Is that due to the Epstein stuff, or?
Well, it's part of it. It goes way beyond that. That's the tip of the iceberg. It goes into other parts of trafficking, satanic ritual. It goes into very, very horrible things. I call her Ellen Degenerate, not degenerate.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that she and her wife, whatever they call her, fled to Britain, and now they want to leave Britain because the British don't want them there either. Evil will not find a home anymore. So they could flee to wherever they want. It's not going to work because we live in a society that's global and you cannot hide from anybody anymore. I mentioned, well, when I had dealings with military intelligence, and they told me that even the outlets and the light bulbs in your house can hear you and see you. So
what?
Yes, the light bulbs can be
in the newer houses, right? The smart house.
Any house.
I mean, Alexa is obviously listening to us, but
not everybody has that. But
I mean, a computer. I'm using a laptop. I'm sure they're watching everything I do with my computer. But you're saying the light
bulbs, yes, and it doesn't matter what kind. They can go through the electrical system, and they can pinpoint your house, and they can use the light bulb as a camera. That's what the military intelligence told me.
You're kidding me.
I'm not joking.
Then forget it. I mean, they can watch you through your toaster. I mean, this is insane.
Well, all these smart appliances that connect your refrigerator to the internet, connect you might as well just say here I am, put your camera on me. That's what's going on. People are stupid.
There's no way out of it if that's the case. If that's how technologically advanced they are, then forget it. It's a wrap.
Well, unfortunately, that's true. But on the other hand, how do you think they find out all these people that are going to do terrorist attacks like they just found in North Carolina, like they stopped in Michigan? They found a lot of attacks that were stopped because of this technology. So as invasive as it may seem, it is also protective. So you have to look at the whole picture, not just one part of it.
So we have a lot to look forward to this year. I've always said this is going to be the big year that has to be. Trump has to make some big moves. He already started off with capturing Maduro. To me, that kicks off the year in a phenomenal way. And it's only going to escalate from here, correct? I mean, we will see not just arrests, but a change. The war stopping in Ukraine and Russia, a changing of the guard with Trump. Not really a changing of the guard, but stepping down, allowing Vance and Rubio to take over, and natural disasters like crazy.
And release of information slowly. For example, the announcement that there is a Fourth Reich in Antarctica.
Wow, that's going to be released this year too, you're saying?
Yes, and that there are alien beings. They kind of said that already. There's a lot of stuff that's going to come out. They've already, they will have proof of the stolen election of 2020. There will be arrests made in that category. Everything, trafficking, drug dealing, everything that you can think of, nefarious activities are going to be exposed this year.
So this is the year of exposure for aliens, arrests, and natural disasters.
And secret organizations, let's put it that way. Well, I don't think the Fourth Reich is so secret.
No, everyone.
Yeah.
They're in Antarctica, aren't they? I mean, the Fourth Reich.
Yeah.
That's where they're at. Yeah. All roads lead to Antarctica is what I've been told.
Right. And did I tell you that story when I worked in Finland?
No, go ahead.
I was asked to be on a television show in Finland. So I was on a television show, and my foil was the Minister of Mental Health. Why would they put mental health against me? I don't know. And so, and so on that show, it was a live show, she was telling me about how they joined NATO and the EU. It was a few years ago. And I said, well, it was a bad mistake because Russia is going to become Soviet Union again, and they're going to take Finland back because Finland used to be part of Soviet Union. Oh, she almost cut my head off. And she said, well, that's why we joined the NATO and EU. And so here we are at the point where now Russia is going to take back Finland. They are, because Finland was actually part of Imperial Russia. And then while I was there was an article in a Finnish newspaper called Strange Bedfellows. And in that story, it talked about the leader of the Fourth Reich visiting the prime minister of Israel. And everybody, how could that be? They were enemies, the Nazis. It says, no, they're on the same side now because they have a common enemy of communism and Muslim fundamentalism. And so that means a lot of the technology, and that's what I wanted to also get to, that Israel has came from the Fourth Reich in Antarctica.
Wow.
And
so all roads lead to Antarctica, definitely.
And that's why Netanyahu keeps coming to the United States. It's not for peace deals. That's for the public consumption. He's giving Trump the technology. How do you think the American army had the technology to find where Maduro was sleeping with his wife and extract them without killing people?
Jeez.
Because that's the same technology Israel used to kill all the Hamas leaders and the leaders in Iran. They pinpointed in Lebanon. Israel gave the Americans that technology to go after these people. And they're giving Americans the technology for Golden Dome. They're giving them that.
So it's the same as Iron Dome, basically.
It's stronger. It's stronger, and that's why they need all of North America and Caribbean, because it only works over continental regions. So that's why they need Canada, they need Greenland, they need even Iceland. You're going to see all these things. Might sound bizarro, but it's happening.
So in other words, it doesn't stop at borders. We need them.
No.
We need the superstates in order to correctly do this. And
Correct.
the main reason for the global dome, or the Golden Dome, really is the gamma rays.
It's for alien invasion.
Come on.
That's what that's what this thing was warning. It's, if you don't do what we say, we're coming. There's an armada in the Kuiper Belt. And I've said this for 3 years.
I mean, they're going to have the technology to pierce right through anything we have.
Well, that's what I told them.
I mean, there's just no stopping this. I mean, if that's the case,
that's what
why
I said.
even make the Golden Dome? It's just
and so
bend over and grab your ankles.
And so, Nino, listen. I have received a book that was given to me recently, and I can't say from who or where, with all the codes in the Bible in detail that can be provided to AI and quantum, and that will stop all activity against Earth.
Okay.
So I have that, and I'm giving it little by little to the ones who need it.
Okay.
So no, it's not the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new one.
It's a new world. All right.
Mm-hmm. Not new world order, a new world, a better world.
All right. Well, let's first stick with January 5th, because we got to go with what we have that is concrete. The first date coming up is January 15th.
Mm-hmm. And next is March 16th.
March 16th. What happens March 16th?
That's when 3i Atlas goes right on top of Jupiter.
Okay. And then what's supposed to happen with that?
Well, only they know that story, but it has something to do with the Earth.
Will there be some kind of pool for a natural disaster? Some kind of...
We don't know what they're going to do. All we know is they're going to do something.
So that could be when aliens come down in the mothership, or like a orbs or whatever.
That's happened so many times already. That's
all right. So then let's focus on January 15th. Let's see what happens January 15th, and whatever happens contingent on there. I'll still bring you on, but like let's just see from there. Sound good?
Yeah. So you'll love me no matter what.
100%, man. We love you, Stuart. My whole audience loves you, man.
Well, I love them too, and I love all of you, and I appreciate you. And they're very good people. Your audience is good people.
No, they're the best. And I'm very fortunate to have such an extended family, Black Sheep family. Yeah, they don't hold nothing against you. You get something wrong, they just, Nino, you got this wrong. I come back and correct it. It's not a big deal. But that's the transparency that I bring. I just,
Yeah.
I'm a heavyweight champion boxer reading the news. It doesn't make any sense.
What I do doesn't make sense either. I never would have thought I'd do this. Like, what the hell am I doing?
Well, Stewart, thank you. Where do people find you?
Expansions.com, EXPANSIONS.com. And we also have Swerdlow Ministries, where we do humanitarian projects globally. I'll be leaving mid-January on a trip overseas to help create the Committee for Global Peace.
Beautiful. Are we going to do a show before then, or?
Well, you have less than 10 days to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta do something. So, but I thought we'd do it after January 15th, or do you want to do it before?
I let you choose.
Okay, so I'll keep in touch with you, and we'll go from there.
Whatever you like to do, I support you, and I'll do it.
Yeah, and I support you, and I appreciate your prayers for my family, Stewart, and everything you've done. So thank you.
I hope they're all good.
Yeah, so far everything's stable, and I very delicate balance right now. But thank you, Stewart. All right, folks, go to expansions.com and visit Stewart Swerdlow there, and we'll be doing another show most likely in the next 10 days. So I appreciate you, Stewart. Thank you.
Stay
with me just a second.